As a kid, nothing got me as hyped for Star Wars as seeing a random Star Wars Kenner commercial on Saturday morning popping up in between Jason of Star Command and Fang Face. Most of the time, it would make me want to turn off the TV and run to my room and throw my Luke Skywalker into my beat-up, sticker-peeling-off X-Wing fighter and head down to the surface of my bed in an attempt to rescue Han Solo, who crash-landed the Millennium Falcon on top of a giant pillow. I love the commercials, but as a kid, I never once thought who made them. Was it Kenner itself? How did it get from the Kenner boardroom to a wooden cabinet television in my living room? Today, let's dig into it and see who made those commercials we all love and how it got from Kenner to our living room TV. As you probably know, Kenner didn't make the commercials themselves. That job was handled by Gray Advertising. The name Gray comes from the color of the founder's office. Can you believe this? It had gray furniture and gray walls. This guy loved gray. I wonder if he had gray hair. The company was founded in 1917 in New York City by Lawrence Vallenstein and Arthur C. Fatt. That's Arthur C. Fatt, not Fett. By the mid-1960s, Gray had become one of the largest ad agencies in the world, not just the United States. And they did everything, not just toy commercials. They handled all kinds of consumer goods. And they didn't just do television. They did print campaigns and radio ads. Here's how it worked for Star Wars toys. Kenner's marketing team would decide what toys they wanted to push. Not every toy could get its own commercial, so they would pick the ones that played best for television or they thought kids would really like to buy. Like they would do one focused on the X-Wing fighter. Now during that commercial they would show action figures to show how it would work with the toy itself. It would also get kids to want the action figures. Kenner would also work closely with Lucasfilm to make sure everything was of their approval. Once Lucasfilm signed off, Gray would pitch storyboards and scripts to Kenner. Then Kenner and Lucasfilm would get feedback, and then once everyone agreed, it was up to Gray Advertising to make the commercial. But Kenner still has some other roles to play, such as setting the budget. This would determine how much they would spend, how many commercials they wanted, and what region and market they would target to. Gray would then take the lead, coming up with the look, the feel, and the story for the commercial. They would cast the child actors, sometimes kids who went on to be famous, like Christian Slater or Ricky Schroeder. They hired the crew, the director, and handled the whole production. Once the commercial was finished, Kenner would sign off on the final cut. Then it was up to Gray Advertising. They would make copies of the 16mm film and ship them out to TV broadcasters. Most commercials ran during Saturday morning cartoons or kid shows after school. The first Star Wars commercial was the Early Bird set, an empty box with a mail-away certificate promising kids the new Star Wars figures would be delivered straight to their house. It was so successful that some kids didn't even get those figures until months after figures were already in the stores. After airing, most TV stations simply threw away the 16mm film. But some prints did survive and found their way into collectors' hands. Lucasfilm would also keep the original masters for their archives, which I really hope someday Lucasfilm takes all those old toy commercials and releases them in HD quality, as there's a lot of grainy copies online. Back then, hundreds of prints would be made for each commercial, because local affiliates and independent stations all needed their own copy. They was mailed out in a white shipping box with a yellow label. Stamped on the front in bold text was Montclair Print Distributor, a company that specialized in shipping film prints in the 70s and 80s. Also on the box was the name Gray Advertising, then Kenner's name, a catalog ID code, a short description of the commercial, its running time, whether it was in color or not, and then the color temperature specs and contact information. Kenner was very happy with Gray Advertising's work. The agency would end up making commercials for every Kenner Star Wars toy line, along with many other Kenner products. To put it simple, Kenner decided which toys to sell. Gray would come up with the story and look, Kenner and Lucas gave their approval, Gray produced the commercial, Kenner signed off on it, Montclair handled shipping the prints, and the 16mm reels went out to local TV stations where they were aired in the agreed time slot. Depending on the station, sometimes the film reels were transformed onto video cartridges called carts in formats like 2-inch quad or 1-inch Unimax, but that's too complicated for me to get into. I don't even know what those two words mean. But you can see it took a lot of work to get those Kenner toys into a commercial and into the eyes of kids who would then run to the store and want to buy every one they could.
I've got the force. I've got the force.
It's
The blazing power of the new Star Wars SSP van set with features like headers, mag wheels, custom grills, and space-age graphics.
Yeah! The good guys finished first. Till next time.
The Star Wars SSP van set by Kenner comes with everything here. Each van also sold separately.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.